I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and if you're a Verizon customer, you're getting quite a few awesome Android handsets this holiday season. They've already announced and launched the Motorola Droid Razr. Now they're launching the HTC Rezound. This is the second of 3 awesome Android phones coming this holiday season, the third being the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. Now this is packing a dual-core 1.5 gigahertz CPU, an 8-megapixel camera, a front-facing camera, and of course it's the first HTC device in the US to have Beats by Dr. Dre built into the device. So for $300 you get the phone, you get some iBeats headphones, and more in a nice 4G LTE package. Is this the device for you? Should you wait for the Galaxy Nexus? Or maybe you should even get the Motorola Droid Razr? We'll find out in the full review of the HTC Rezound. But first, special love to my boys at Best Buy Mobile. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. When you get the Rezound, they'll help you set up your email, your web, your camera settings, and more. So when you walk out that door, you're good to go. I'm doing a lot of pointing at the camera. Sorry about that. If you're watching it really close, it probably looks crazy. So I covered this in part 1, but I want to cover it in part 2 as well because the display on this phone is absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, it's a 4.3-inch display, but it's the first true HD display to be on a mobile phone in the US. It's a 720p HD display. It's just absolutely beautiful, and you really notice it when you're looking at small text things. For example, we'll go into this email from Carolina Nightlife, and you'll notice that the banner up here is smaller, but still preserves. I mean, it just looks fantastic. Images look great, and you can see, I mean, everything just looks fantastic. I can't think of a better way of saying it. You know, we'll go ahead and go into landscape so you can get kind of a look of it there as well. And obviously the camera's not going to do it justice. Take a look at this though in the Verizon store and really compare it to the Droid Razr, which while the Droid Razr does have a decent display, it has an AMOLED display, and it still has Pentile as well. Though it looks better than the Droid Bionic, you can still kind of see some pixelation. So keep that in mind as opposed to this one, which is True HD. So the display, definitely a winner over here on the Rezound, and the fact obviously that it has Beats integration built in. But let's take a more in-depth look at Sense 3.5 as well, because I want to show you some of the personalization options. So obviously you get 7 home screens. Let's say, for example, we'll come over here and press and hold on the display, and you can see that there are some changes to the personalization menu. You can see Add to Home, Display, and Sound as the new little tabs down here. And when it says Add to Home, I can add a widget, for example. And I can bring up a ton of widgets here between HTC's custom widgets like calendar, where I can scroll through and pick, you know, my own size, my own type if I want the agenda calendar, for example. Or I can come over here to display and I can change my scene, my skin, my wallpaper, my lock screen, and then the shortcuts. So I have lock screen shortcuts. Actually, let's change the style first. And let's say we want to do the weather as our lock screen. So we'll go ahead and apply weather, and then what we'll do, we'll go back in here, and then we'll change the lock screen shortcuts, and you'll see what this does in just a second. So we'll change these over. Let's say, actually that looks good. Let's say, you know, if I wanted to change Gmail, for example, you could see it'll bring me right in to where, and you see that kind of lag right there. That's what I was talking about in part 1, where I'm like, this thing has a dual-core processor. I mean, everything should be just, you know, like clockwork, move incredibly fast. So kind of weird to see that, but that's how I want it. So now that I've set it to weather, I can turn the device off, turn it back on, and you can see it's going to bring up weather on the home screen, and it's unusually hot for November 16th. 70 degrees outside, but you can see here I can either drag down my shortcuts and open up Gmail directly, or I can scroll the ring up, and when I scroll it up, it takes me back to my home screen. So pretty cool little personalization features. Now what I don't like about this, Verizon opted to pull out HTC Hub and HTC Likes. That's an area of HTC where you can get free wallpapers, free themes, free skins, free ringtones, and more. They pull that out. And it kind of limits your customization. So I didn't really care for that. I wish they kept that on there like they do on a lot of the T-Mobile and AT&T and Sprint HTC devices, but still, you know, I digress. There's a lot, you know, they took that off and they have a lot of bloatware pre-installed. So it's just something you have to live with if you want this device. But again, you know, first Beats handset and great camera and great display. So it kind of outweighs some of that. So you have to decide what's more important to you. But anyway, on the note of camera, let's take a look at it. 8-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording, and let's take a look at, let's see, what can we take a picture of? Let's do the Beats headphones. We'll get a close-up on these. So it's a pretty decent camera. It's not going to write home though, or it's not going to be one of those ones you write home to mom about though. It's, you know, no comparison to the HTC Amaze 4G, which HTC and T-Mobile tout is the best camera on a mobile device. But I am, you know, mostly pleased with it. We'll go ahead and focus in here on this text, and we'll let it focus in. Now, there's no physical button on the sides. You do get your volume rocker over here, your 3.5mm headphone jack up top with a power button. You've got nothing over here with the exception of your micro USB charging port, and then front-facing camera obviously on the front. Now, I'll tell you about the power button in just a second, but let's go ahead and let this focus in. Now, I can press and hold here, and you'll see that it doesn't give me the option to press and hold but not actually take the picture. That said, combination of a beautiful 720p display and the fact that it's a pretty decent camera, I mean, that's pretty great for a camera. So in terms of, I'm kind of giving you a preview to the dogfight here. In terms of camera between the Droid Razr and between the Rezound, and I just say this because they launched within days of each other, the camera is definitely going to go to the Rezound. I mean, it's a much better camera. If cameras are your thing, you take pictures quite a bit, you may want to look into the Rezound as well. So what I was going to say about the power button, anyway, decent there, decent 1080p HD video recording, even though the sound is a little the noise cancellation isn't where I'd like it to be. But what I was going to say about the power button, and let me see if I can hold it so you get an idea. The power button is flush with the plastic housing on the device, which makes it really frustrating when you're trying to quickly turn it on and turn it off. I found that several times while it's in my pocket, and I pull it out and I quickly try to press the power button. I either miss the power button or I don't push it down hard enough because it really is recessed. I mean, when I'm scrolling my finger over it, I have a hard time feeling that power button. A lot like the HD7, really a problem with some of these recent HTC devices that they need to work on, make the power button a little bit, raise it up a little bit and make it harder to press as opposed to recessing it down in there and making it even more challenging to press long term. Battery 1620. 1,620 milliamp hour battery. If battery is your thing, this is not going to be your device. With moderate use, text messaging, emailing, calling, and more, I've had trouble making it through the day. I make it about 10 hours before the device requires a recharge. So, I mean, if you're a heavy user, you're either going to need a spare battery, which you can get on this, as opposed to the Droid Razr with its non-removable battery. You can get a 2,750 milliamp hour battery. It's huge, but you can still get it. But you'll need that or a car charger or something if you use this on the road quite a bit. So keep that in mind. Battery life is not the best on this device. And we'll load up Quadrant Standard. Now, what I have been relatively pleased with, if you know my reviews, I've kind of criticized HTC devices in the past for having poor wireless radios, or less than stellar wireless radios. Let's say the HTC Evo 3D, the Sensation 4G, all performed a little bit worse than their other high-end competitors. I haven't seen a huge problem with this one. Reception's been very decent. I've taken it to a Verizon dead spot in northeast Charlotte near the university area, if you're familiar with the city. And the calls were choppy. They did kind of cut in and out, and I had 0 bars of service. But the phone maintained the call. And I noticed when comparing DBMs between two devices, like the Rezound and the Droid Razr, for example, they hover around the same DBM, even though the signal strength indicator meter fluctuates. That's not even a word. Fluctuates. Fluctures? What the heck is fluctures? That's pretty funny. I'm actually not going to edit this out because I think that's pretty funny. Fluctuates. What? Wow. Anyway. Fluctuates depending on the phone, but obviously it's not. It depends on the device and depends on a bunch of different things that we can't really test in real time. So 2,002 fluctures, I can't get over that. 2,273 on Quadrant Standard, and I just make up words in these reviews. It's pretty amazing. 2,273 in Quadrant Standard. Let's take a look at speed test as well, because this is running Verizon's 4G LTE. And it is very, very fast. Now, granted, like I said, I'm uptown right now in the office, and there is a repeater. But take a look at this and see what you think. It's been relatively decent across the board. I'll show you the results when I'm done. But very, very fast. I've seen speeds as high as 22 megabits per second while in the office, in the off-peak times. Right now, seems to be performing a little lower than I've ever seen it before. But we'll take a look at the results once it's done. So, and again, we are about 3:30, so it's kind of traffic starting to get heavy on the cell sites. Which makes sense. So about 8 megabits per second. But you can see here, the one that I ran the other day, 25 megabits per second on the download, 9 megabits per second on the upload. So very, very fast. And overall, I've been pleased with Verizon's LTE. Now, stay tuned because AT&T just got LTE in the Charlotte area. It's not supposed to roll out until the 20th, but they've already turned it on. So I've been doing some speed tests. So I keep an eye out for those because when we do dogfights now, we can do LTE versus LTE, which will make it nice and fair. But you can see, for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to be performing very well at the moment. So that's kind of frustrating. But anyway, like I said before, it has Beats by Dr. Dre integration, but it only works in the actual music application. It does not work in Google Music or any of these other third-party music sources. So if you do use those, you're going to have to transfer your music over to the official music application. So keep that in mind. If you want to take advantage of the Beats technology that's built in, you want to use your included earbuds that come with the package. Keep an eye out on that. But all in all, very for the most part, a fast device. I see it, like, for example, here, no lag whatsoever. But then when you open up the app drawer, you can kind of see that stutter as it goes up, and I kind of see it when I'm scrolling back and forth through applications. So keep that in mind. A little bit slow for my taste, a little stuttery at times, but then it works perfectly fine over here. And Quadrant Standard seems to be relatively decent, even though, like I always say, that's not indicative of day-to-day performance. So it's a good device. Now the question is going to remain, whether you get this over the Droid Razr or whether you get this over the Galaxy Nexus, because there are 3 hot Android phones coming out this season, and obviously they're going to appeal to a lot of different people. So it's important to keep that in mind. But still, for $300, it's a pricey device. That said, if music's your thing and you're going to put your music in a stock music application, take a look at the HTC Rezound, even though it's $300. Battery life isn't the greatest. It does stutter from time to time, but all in all, if you like HTC Sense, it packs the latest version of Sense. It packs a relatively fast processor. It packs a really good camera, and all in all, it's just a nice little feature-packed device. Just make sure you have a car charger around or something, or spare battery or something like that. Much more coverage to come on the HTC Rezound on PhoneDog.com. Dogfight time. You know it's coming between the Droid Razr and between this, and obviously when the Galaxy Nexus comes out, we'll have dogfights with it as well. So keep it locked on the site. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're always giving away stuff. We're talking about the Rezound and having fun content and just hanging out on Facebook. So check us out, like us, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. Follow me on Twitter as well, PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Let me know what you think of this phone. You like this better? You like the Droid Razr better? Let me know why you like it. Let me know which one you like and why at either one of those mediums, either Twitter or Facebook. Thanks so much for watching. More coverage to come on the HTC Rezound on PhoneDog.com.